everyone, it's Adele and April from Just Say Scrap, and we are here with Technique Tuesday on Mom's Rock.
Hi, Rock.
I think we've taken a video on this rock for the past 5 years.
Probably.
But we are bringing you a new technique this week, so make sure you check it out. Okay, so today we are actually throwing it back to a technique that we showed you last month, but we wanted to actually show you how we did it. So what would you call this? This is a stamping technique, but Mom's gonna find the name as I do it. So we've got our Cape Cod card making again. We've got our regular card base. You could do this with the slim line if you want, but before we do anything, we do have to cut some paper. So I have different blades for different kinds of paper, so I'm pulling in my white daisy blade and my white daisy. And we are going to have to cut, we're going to cut a 5 by 3 3/4. 3 3/4. Then we're going to cut a 4 by 2 3/4. And then we're gonna cut a 3 by 1 3/4. All right, perfect. Then what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna change out my blade. So I have a glitter blade, and I'm going to pull in a piece of periwinkle. So my first cut, I want to be a 4 by 5 1/4. And then we're gonna paper saver method. So we're gonna be paper saving at a 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna line it up on my right hand side, and we're gonna cut a 1/2 inch. So I'm at 4 3/4, down to a 1/2, rotate, 1/2 to 3 1/2, rotate, 4 3/4 to a 1/2, rotate, 1/2 to 3 1/2. All right, and you should get this piece. Now this is the measurement of the next piece we need, which is 3 by 4 1/4. So once again, we are going to paper saver. So we're now going to be going to 3 3/4 to a 1/2, 1/2 inch to 2 1/2, 3 3/4 to 1/2, 1/2 inch to 2 1/2. Pop that one out. This is good. Put to the side. Now this one is a 2 by 3/4, 3 1/4. That's what we need, but I'm going to paper saver this again. I know it's kind of pointless, but I like saving every little bit of paper that I can. So we're going to do that. Oops, I did it a little short there, but that's okay. It will still work with what I want to do. So, all right, that's done, and I can change out my blade and put my regular blade back in, just so I don't forget next time. All right, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna leave the glitter and the card base off to the side, but we are going to take our mono air, and I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the middle there, and we are going to center this right onto my card base, or the other piece of white daisy, but I am going to clean it. My white daisy blade is a little fuzzy, so that means it's got to be changed. Just a little fuzzy. All right, so we're just gonna right into the middle. This one also has to be trimmed down just a little bit. Wiggle it just a little bit. All right. And that's gonna go right into the center of that one. Perfect. So we're only doing a little bit of glue. Whoops, sorry, I hit the camera. We're only doing a little bit of glue because we are going to be pulling these apart. So we just needed a little bit of glue there. All right, so I'm gonna take a scrap piece of paper, and I'm gonna get some blocks for these. As you can see, I have some things in here. But we are going to be doing these 3 for now. 1, 2, and 3. Mom found the name of it. Would you like to tell them the name?
Sure. It's a triple layered stamped card.
All right, so these stamps definitely fit on the 2 by 3.5 the best, but we only have 2 of these. So I'm going to put the other one on a 3 by 3. All right, perfect. So if you look at this stamp, this is the sand, this is the ocean, this is the sky. And since we are using the periwinkle, we're gonna kind of stay in that family. So I'm gonna use the periwinkle, mink, and bluebird. I think this is a really pretty color combination. You agree?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, so mink is going to be our sand, even though I know, you know, there are different color sands, right? If you saw last time we did this stamp, we did it in toffee, so that's also a good sand color, but you know, not all sand has to be brown. We're gonna use gray. All right, so with this, I'm just gonna kind of come up a little bit. And we're gonna push, this is why we have a Versamat, because you can actually see that I'm kind of trying to get onto the middle there. Not perfect, but good enough. We're gonna then ink that up again, and we're gonna kind of line it up to that last stamp. So not perfect, but this is sand. We're going to have some water over it. And then just line it up on the edge here. Get into the crevice there. And that looks like some good sand, right? Mm-hmm. You can even use your second generation to make it a little darker in spots. Whatever is easier for you. But these stamps in nature, like we did say in our Twisted Sisters video, as you can see, they have shading themselves. So it might look like, huh, why didn't that actually stamp all the way? It did, don't worry. And you should be seasoning them if you haven't used them, but we have been using this stamp a lot because we like it so much.
Yes.
Such a pretty stamp.
The shading, the shading stamp, I don't know if that's the exact terminology for it, is something that close to my heart came up with, and I believe this is the first stamp that they used it on.
I thought they used it on a few of the other ones, old ones.
Older ones?
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right, so I did that, and see how I matched those two? But for this part, it's kind of a little bit weird because I want the waves to stay with the sky there. So I just turn that around and put that there, and it still looks like water. And we can just kind of, you know, stamp a little bit more lightly and get that looking like water. That's the periwinkle. And now we're gonna use bluebird for our sky. Should I second generation the bluebird, or should I keep it straight?
I think maybe a second generation.
No, I kind of like it straight. So I am trying to layer enough so we get the whole thing. I did miss one small tiny spot right down here. Just gonna try to fill that in a little. All right, perfect. Do you like how that looks? Mm-hmm. All right. Before we do anything else, I am going to actually use our archival black ink and put down a fence. Just because I can. So I'm gonna take the fence, and I'm using my, like I said, archival black. And I am just going to put the fence along. Let's see. I like the second generation stamp of the fence. So we're just gonna put the fence along the pathway here, like that. And then I'm going to put some seagulls. Some of these details are things you can do after, but you'll see why I'm doing most of them first. All right. We're gonna get some seagulls flying off into the sky here. I know that I put that in the dark part of the sky, but you know, seagulls fly. Fly, seagulls fly. And then we've got some beach grass. And the beach grass, I'm actually gonna triple generation. So see how I made that really light? So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it kind of gives it that faded look a little bit more. If you stamp something that you don't necessarily love, you can always go over it later too. So we're not that thrilled about the grass, but we'll see what we do with it. All right, so now let's pull this apart. All right, we've got these 3 pieces now, right? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our card base and we are going to adhere our first periwinkle glitter paper down. Next, I'm gonna grab in that bottom layer of the white daisy. We're gonna glue that down. And then we're gonna repeat this pattern, putting periwinkle over white daisy over periwinkle. And there you have it. So you see why it was really important to try and get in all those crevices. Some of them you can see a little bit, but you really can't tell with the card, especially with the kind of shading that this is. And you can see that we just did it one on top of another. You could also see with my mistake of cutting this a little short, the mono air actually is dots, so it glued it on very well. The other reason that you should paper saver as well is glitter paper is very hard to glue onto. Sorry, I think this is a little crooked, so I'm just gonna fix it. Glitter paper, like I said, is very, very hard to glue onto. So if you wanna glue onto the glitter paper, you actually have to use something like liquid glass, but it takes a while to dry. So just fun thing that we do is if you paper saver, then you can glue the middle part right in between. Sorry, I just thought this was a little crooked. And I don't like when things are crooked. Right, Mom? Mm-hmm. I am a no crooked lady. All right. And this glue is pretty repositionable to begin with, and then it gets stronger as it dries. So I was able to pull that up pretty easy without ruining my card. And you can also see now why I stamped like the fence and things first while the seagulls are good. The grass actually looks a lot better now that there's stuff in between it too. So sometimes, you know, try what you think and then go ahead and put it down. So isn't that an awesome technique? Our triple layered stamped card. Another great thing is this has a few great sentiments. So it says, thank you. It's a good day for a birthday. Thinking of you during this hard time. So this is something else where, remember, we now cut that tiny little strip of glitter paper. We can use this, and this is 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 because I cut mine wrong. So I could take that, and I know that that's what that is. Take some white daisy. We had all those 1-inch strips, so I would need a 1 by 2. I think I'm gonna stamp the thank you in the bluebird because I think that'll look really pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm gonna show you what I mean by, it's a little, you know what actually might look really cool, which I just thought about? Because it was a little bright for my liking. So I'm gonna take our mink and the sand and just make the background. So reusing what we had already to make it blend in. Isn't that perfect? Mm-hmm. And like I said, once again, we do need some liquid glass for this. If your liquid glass does not go right away, use a safety pin. So you use a safety pin, just swirl that around. And then we can put some liquid glass down on here. If you cut it, it will really like explode out, which you don't want. You want the liquid glass to have a finer tip so you can control it a little bit better. So I'm gonna let that dry. And another cool thing that I can do with the liquid glass is I can actually create some water looks to our water. So just by creating little lines, because it does look like glass, then it will make it give it like a wave effect. And then before I add on the thank you, I'm actually going to take some thin foam tape and I'm going to find my non-stick scissors somewhere. Got a little liquid glass in my versa mat there. Put the thank you down like that. And I could even add some sparkles or bitty sparkles to it. Doing my rule of 3. And there you have it, our triple layered stamp card. And that's Technique Tuesday. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comments below. But we'll see you next week. Bye. Isn't it beautiful? Mama's rock. My rock. People, shush.